Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 128. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year, in a non-leap year, this is for May 8th, or in a leap year, for May 7th. The Old Testament reading is from Judges 7, starting with verse 8 through the end of Judges 8. Judges 7, verse 8. So they took their provisions and their trumpets into their hand, and he sent all the men of Israel, each one to his tent. But 300 of the men he kept. The camp of Midian was below him in the valley. And that night Yahweh said to him, "Get up, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid, go down to the camp with Purah your servant, and you will hear what they say. And afterward you will have courage, and you will go down against the camp." Then he went down with Purah his servant to the outpost of the armed men that were in the camp. Now the Midianites, Amalekites, and all the people of the east were lying in the valley, like a great multitude of locusts. Their camels were without number, as numerous as the sand that is on the shore of the sea. When Gideon came, a man was recounting a dream to his friend, and he said, "Behold, I had a dream. A round loaf of barley bread was tumbling into the camp of Midian, and it came up to the tent. It struck it, and it fell, and turned it upside down, so that the tent fell." His friend answered him and said, "This cannot be anything except the sword of Gideon, son of Jehoash, a man of Israel. God has given Midian and the entire camp into his hand." When Gideon heard the recounting of the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and returned to the camp of Israel. And he said, "Get up, for Yahweh has given the camp of Midian into your hand." He divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put trumpets and empty jars in everyone's hand, with torches inside the jars. And he said to them, "Watch me and do the same. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. When I and all who are with me blow on the trumpet, you must also blow on the trumpets and surround the camp. And you must say, 'To Yahweh and to Gideon.'" So Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle night watch, when they had just finished setting up the guards. And they blew on the trumpets and smashed the jars that were in their hands. When 3 companies blew on the trumpets and broke the jars, they held in their left hand the torches, and in their right hand the trumpets for blowing. And they cried, "A sword for Yahweh and for Gideon." And each stood in his place all around the camp. And all the camp ran, and they cried out as they fled. When they blew the 300 trumpets, Yahweh set the sword of each one against his neighbor throughout the whole camp. And the camp fled as far as Beth-shittah towards Zerarah, up to Abel-meholah, the border by Tabbath. And the men of Israel were called from Naphtali, from Asher, and from all of Manasseh, and they pursued after Midian. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down to oppose Midian, and capture from them the waters up to Beth-barah and the Jordan." He called out all the men of Ephraim, and they captured the waters up to Beth-barah and the Jordan. And they captured the 2 commanders of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. And they killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and they killed Zeb at the winepress of Zeb, while they chased Midian. And they brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon from beyond the Jordan. Judges chapter 8. The men of Ephraim said to him, "What is this thing you have done to us, not calling us when you went to fight against the Midianites?" And they quarreled with him severely. And he said to them, "What have I done now in comparison with you? Are not the gleanings of Ephraim better than the grape harvest of Abiezer? God has given into your hand the commanders of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. What have I been able to do in comparison with you?" And their anger against him subsided when he said that. Then Gideon came to the Jordan, crossing it with the 300 men who were with him, weary and pursuing. He said to the men of Succoth, "Please give loaves of bread to the people who are following me, for they are weary, and I am pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian." The officials of Succoth said, "Is the hand of Zebah and Zalmunna in your hand now, that we should give bread to your army?" Gideon said, "Well then, when Yahweh gives Zebah and Zalmunna into my hand, I will trample your flesh with the thorns and briars of the wilderness." He went from there to Penuel, and he spoke similarly to them, and the men of Penuel answered him just as the men of Succoth answered. And he also said to the men of Penuel, saying, "When I return safely, I will tear down this tower." Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, and their armies with them. About 15,000 men remained from the entire army of the people of the east. Those that fell in battle were 120,000 swordsmen. And Gideon went up the rout of those who dwell in tents on the east of Nobah and Jogbehah, and he attacked the army when it was off its guard. And Zebah and Zalmunna fled, and he pursued them and captured the 2 kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and he routed the entire army. Then Gideon, son of Jehoash, returned from the battle by way of the ascent of Heres. He captured a young man from Succoth and questioned him. The young man listened for him the commanders of Succoth and its elders, 77 men. He came to the men of Succoth, and he said, "Here is Zebah and Zalmunna, about whom you taunted me, saying, 'Is the palm of Zebah and Zalmunna in your hand now, that we should give food to your weary men?'" He took the elders of the city, and the thorn bushes and briars of the wilderness, and he trampled the men of Succoth with them. He broke down the tower of Penuel, and he killed the men of the city. And he said to Zebah and Zalmunna, "What type were the men whom you killed at Tabor?" And they said, "They were like you. Each one of them had the appearance of the sons of the king." He said, "They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As Yahweh lives, if you had kept them alive, I would not kill you." And he said to Jether, his firstborn, "Get up, kill them." But the boy did not draw his sword, for he was afraid because he was still a boy. Zebah and Zalmunna said, "Get up yourself and strike us, for as is the man, so is his power." So Gideon got up and killed Zebah and Zalmunna, and he took the crescent ornaments that were on the necks of their camels. The men of Israel said to Gideon, "Rule over us, both you and your son's son, for you have delivered us from the hand of Midian." But Gideon said to them, "I will not rule over you, and my son will not rule over you. Yahweh will rule over you." And Gideon said to them, "Let me make a request of you, that each of you give to me an ornamental ring from his plunder." They had ornamental rings of gold because they were Ishmaelites. They said, "We will gladly give them." And they spread out a garment, and everyone threw there an ornamental ring of his plunder. The weight of the ornamental rings of gold that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, apart from the crescents, pendants, and purple garments that were on the kings of Midian, and apart from the pendants that were on the necks of their camels. Gideon made an ephod out of it, and he put it in his town of Ophrah. And all Israel prostituted themselves to it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. And Midian was subdued before the Israelites, and they did not again lift up their head, and the land rested for 40 years in the days of Gideon. Jerubbaal, son of Joash, lived in his own house. Now Gideon had 70 sons, his own offspring, for he had many wives. His concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore for him a son, and he named him Abimelech. And Gideon, son of Joash, died at a good old age, and he was buried in the tomb of Jehoash his father, in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. And it happened, as soon as Gideon died, the Israelites returned and prostituted themselves after the Baals, and they made for themselves Baal-berith as God. The Israelites did not remember Yahweh their God, who had delivered them from the hand of their enemies from all around, nor did they show favor to the house of Jerubbaal, that is, Gideon, in accordance with all the good that he did for Israel. The New Testament reading is from John chapter 5, verse 31 through 47. John 5:31. If I testify about myself, my testimony is not true. There is another who testifies about me, and I know that the testimony which he testifies about me is true. You have sent to John, and he has testified to the truth. And I do not receive testimony from people, but I say these things in order that you may be saved. That one was the lamp which was burning and shining, and you wanted to rejoice for an hour in his light. But I have a testimony greater than John's. For the works which the Father has given to me that I should complete them, the very works which I am doing, these testify about me that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me, that one has testified about me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his form, and you do not have his word residing in yourselves, because the one whom you sent, in this one you do not believe. You search the Scriptures because you think that you have eternal life in them, and it is these that testify about me. And you are not willing to come to me so that you may have life. I do not accept glory from people, but I know you, that you do not have the love of God in yourselves. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. If another should come in his own name, you would accept that one. How are you able to believe if you accept glory from one another, and do not seek the glory which is from the only God? Do not think that I will accuse you before the Father. The one who accuses you is Moses, in whom you have put your hope. For if you had believed Moses, you would believe me, for that one wrote about me. But if you do not believe that one's writings, how will you believe my words? The wisdom literature reading is from Proverbs 11, verse 19 through 28. Proverbs 11:19. He who is steadfast in righteousness is to life, as he who pursues evil is to death. An abomination of Yahweh are the crooked of heart, but his delight are those with blameless ways. Rest assured, the wicked will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will escape. A ring of gold in the snout of a pig is a woman who is beautiful, but without discretion. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked, wrath. There is one who gives, yet grows richer, but he who withholds what is right only finds need. A person of blessing will be enriched, and he who gives water also will be refreshed. He who withholds grain, the people curse him, but a blessing is for the head of him who sells. He who diligently seeks good seeks favor, but he who inquires of evil, it will come to him. He who trusts in his wealth is he who will fall, but like a green leaf, the righteous will flourish. This concludes the reading for day 128. Thank you for listening. These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the global outreach ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.